And Chrissy Farr broke some news this morning on two new health features that could be announced later today, and she joins us now. Chrissy, two things catch my eye here. One is workouts, and the other is making use of an oxygen sensor, which for some might have been there all along.
Yeah, John, so you already mentioned that, now is the time. It's COVID. There's so much opportunity here that wasn't here before. And I think one big one for Apple is health and fitness. We've seen Peloton do incredibly well at this time. People are not going to the gym for the most part. They don't want to risk exposure. So the at-home workout has become a really big deal. And I think for Apple Watch, this is prime time to capitalize on that. I've been hearing for months about a new feature codenamed Seymour that could bring workout videos to the iPhone and the Apple Watch that you could just simply kind of follow along, give you some new ideas for workouts from home. So that is definitely something that we could see Apple talk about today, moving more into Peloton's territory with its digital subscription business and content. So that's one area that I would expect to see some movement from the Apple Watch. The other is in the medical field, where Apple Watch has been playing for some time now. Given that it's COVID, one of the sensors that I've been thinking we could see for a while is something around pulse oximetry, and that's to measure oxygen levels in the blood. It's something that other wearable companies have been playing with as well, but no one has really moved forward to introduce. So it would be something relatively new for Apple. And during this time of COVID, where it's a respiratory disease, I could see there being some kind of tie-in there. I could also see Apple, announcing several studies around this. If now is the time indeed for the pulse oximeter. And you could see them, looking at areas like pneumonia, looking at asthma, COPD, and various other chronic lung conditions. So those are some areas that I could see Apple Watch moving into with the new device that I think would be very exciting.
Right, and Chrissy, there could even be a COVID tie-in, right, with that blood oxygen monitoring, helping maybe identify some of the symptoms early. But, blood oxygen monitoring, well, it's relatively new for Apple. There are devices out there that already have this. Do you think that if Apple does have this feature in the new watches, that brings this feature more mainstream? Is that something that consumers, an Apple Watch consumer, really wants?
I think that's TBD. You can absolutely buy, just on Amazon right now, you can go on Amazon and buy a basic pulse oximeter that you could have at home. It's the one that sort of clips onto your finger. You probably used it before at the doctor's office. And there's some debate that's ongoing about whether or not these devices are going to be useful in a time of COVID, particularly when one of the key symptoms that physicians are looking out for is shortness of breath. There's some talk of, if someone is being told to stay home but diagnosed with COVID, would this be a useful device to have on hand? I don't think Apple is going to be able to walk into this event and say, we've sort of proven that this is going to be useful. I think more likely they'll say, let's study it. And that's the approach that they've taken in the past with pretty much all the medical features that they've done.
They have, Chrissy.
So that's what I could see pushing out.
And I wonder if there's the potential, you think, for more of a platform move here. If they have this feature inside the watch, is it an opportunity for health tech specialists, software companies, to build features on top of that, to bring doctors in to be alerted if there's maybe a signal that they need to get in touch with a patient about? Could they play it that way rather than say, hey, this thing is going to tell you if you have COVID? This thing is going to bring your community of care providers in to catch things perhaps early.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think Apple would ever diagnose someone with a medical condition, because that leads them also into a very regulated area, which Apple is going to try to avoid as much as possible. They don't want to be a medical device company. That's a very different kind of company than a consumer tech company. So I definitely see them bringing doctors in and potentially giving consumers a reading, but making sure that the physician is sort of part of that experience and alerting people potentially whether it's time to, say, come into the doctor's office to seek a consult. Or Apple has also played with telemedicine in the past, this idea of virtual video visits with some of its prior announcements. So I could see that also kind of being part of this, to your point about platforms. And then there's always going to be, the health developer angle. And that's something they've pursued with all their different software kits, whether it's Health Kit or Research Kit, that we've seen them announce in the past. So again, they're never going to be a medical device company. They want to be a consumer health company, and but they want to do it kind of in partnership with the medical industry as much as possible.